The new Foundation Edition 5080 just dropped and it's heavy as a freaking brick. Did China just create the final boss GPU? Oh, if it's real, look out NVIDIA. Matt's son is taking motherboards to the minimum. And the world has been flipped upside down with DDR5 13,000. Is this real, Phil?
What's your name?
Snake.
No, not that name. You're not a snake. I'm not an ocelot. We're men.
Well, my name is Zach Shutt and it's time for Meta PC's news. Let's go. If you ordered an RTX 5080 and got a bricked GPU, now that would be bad. Now this story is almost as cool as a 13,000 mega transfer DDR5 memory that we're gonna be talking about later, so you're gonna wanna stick around for that. This story, as all good stories do, starts on Reddit. Somebody ordered a brand new RTX 5080 and Scott pilgrimed the door until it arrived. Now, obviously excited, Reddit user Glass Historica L5303 opened the box only to find a brick, an actual freaking brick. We've seen scams like this all the time. It's really sad to see. We're gonna pour out some water cooling liquid for our homie and hope that Amazon covers him. What would you do if you ended up with Redditors, what Redditors are dubbing a Foundation Edition GPU?
I would just laugh. Like, I'd be so sad that I'd laugh.
I would laugh and then immediately start crying. Sometimes you can get cards like this because they're using bricks or things of similar weight to return the card back to Amazon, and Amazon does a cursory check on the item. They're like, weight's the same, we're good to throw it back into stock. It is not. It's also a great way to get your Amazon account banned and also get yourself in some legal problems. Film yourself unboxing it.
Yeah.
Because then you have some real, you're like, dude, I got it out of the box and ta-da, I have a Founders Edition, a Foundation Edition GPU now. Hold on to your wallets because after what feels like an eternity, GPU prices are actually dropping. This is not a drill. My bank account is crying tears of joy as the GPU gods have finally smiled upon us. We're seeing some huge discounts on the latest RTX 50 series cards, with the 5090 finally hitting that long-awaited $2,000 price point. The RTX 5080 also seeing some drops, and the 5070 is available for, Phil, just $524.
Oh my God.
This is massive for anybody looking to upgrade their PC. Question I have for you, are you buying now or are you waiting for the next generation? Prices are coming down, Phil. Don't die now.
Is this a true downturn, or is this kind of, you know, maybe there just hasn't been the sales? Like,
I think it's maybe some decreased demand, but also, you also have to keep in mind, there are super cards around the corner.
Yep.
We keep talking about them. You typically see stuff like this when NVIDIA's like, hey, so we've got something new, and we have to get rid of some older stuff.
yeah, because if the 5080 Super exists, why buy a 5080?
Big question that people have, they're like, do I wait? Do I wait? We saw GPU launches and how they've gone in the past. You convincing yourself you're going to get a super card when it comes out is probably wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind as well. If you're really due for an upgrade, now might be a really good time. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All right, so Gigabyte is trying a new thermal composite on its RTX 5090 Aorus Master, but DerBauer has a better idea.
I'm better. I am better.
New test reveals that if you swap out the composite for pure liquid metal, you can drop your GPU temps by 5 degrees Celsius.
That's a lot.
This is where real nerdcore magic happens, boys and girls. It's a testament to the lengths that we go for those last few performance games. But as we all know, liquid metal comes with a risk. So I wanna know, if you ever use liquid metal on a GPU, was it worth the reward? Or are you thinking about it after seeing what DerBauer's been cooking up?
Is this something that an average builder could even do?
You start to mess with your warranty.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're talking about a card and you're investing all this money into a GPU, these are things to keep in mind. You can get the performance gain, 100%, but is it worth tearing apart your card, voiding your warranty and things like that? That is a question that's really more for you. Is it worth it? He noticed some stuff in the production of these cards too. Some of that composite and liquid metal had spilled over because there wasn't something holding it in. There wasn't a barrier. And they do treat some of these cards and the parts around it so that if it does leak on it, it's not gonna fry your card. So like, not something to be super concerned about. This is common in mass production. Process, clean the card up and apply pure liquid metal. So remove all that composite, all that stuff. Added a GPU guard, a sealing frame, so that you're not leaking all of that liquid metal onto the card itself. Here's what he saw, 74 degrees Celsius. That is a 4 to 5 degrees Celsius improvement. Is it worth voiding your warranty to do something like this? Comes down to you, baby. What do you think? Guys, our team works day in and day out to bring you the highest quality content possible, and oftentimes our biggest hurdle is editing all of this amazing footage. Thanks to today's sponsor, Kingston, we're able to complete lightning fast creative workflows using Kingston Fury Beast DDR5 memory. We use Kingston in all of our builds here at Meta PCs because the last thing that you want while you're gaming is instability, low speeds, and high temps. The Kingston Fury Beast provides us with improved stability for overclocking with their on-die ECC, as well as increased efficiency boosted by double the banks, burst length, and 2 independent 32-bit subchannels. Don't just take our word for it though. This RAM is both Intel XMP 3.0 and AMD Expo certified and is even featured on the qualified vendor list of the world's leading motherboards. These guys are the name in reliable and fast memory. Even the low profile heat spreader design was made specifically to provide outstanding cooling and functionality, while their black or white variants keep your build looking as cool as it runs. If you don't use Kingston in your build already, head to the link in the description to upgrade your creative workflows today. Now, let's get back to the news, shall we? Do you want a free GPU upgrade? Well, if you're rocking a Radeon RX 9070, you might be in for a little early Halloween treat. New report shows that you can flash the BIOS from a higher-end RX 9070 XT onto a base 9070 and get a performance boost of up to 20%. Massive, and also gives new life to an already great card. Now, I gotta warn you guys, it's risky. You could totally brick your GPU if you do it improperly, but for the brave among us, the rewards are freaking huge.
So Zach, can you explain what flashing a BIOS is?
So you're taking your BIOS that came with your card and you're essentially overwriting it with the BIOS, in this case, from another card.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Really, the risk comes in you completely bricking your card. Where you reduce that risk is if you have 2 performance modes on your card. Becomes far less risky. Because if you do oopsie on one of them, you can just go back to the other BIOS and kind of save the day. Right?
Little backup, if you will.
Little backup. And if you reach out to the manufacturer and say, hey, so I tried a little something on my graphics card, they'll be like, cool, you don't have a warranty, so good luck, bud. 20% in some cases is nothing to scoff at. Question is it worth it? Gamers are getting their hands on FSR 4 and the results are a little bit mixed. While the image quality is better, it's actually dropping performance on older RDNA 2 cards by 10 to 20%. Now, this is a little bit ironic since FSR is a performance boosting tech. It suggests that maybe FSR 4 might be more computationally intensive of a solution. Is this trade-off worth it? Well, that's entirely up to you and what you're playing. Phil, do you think that this is something that needs to be fixed or just a reason to get a freaking 97?
If you're on an iPhone 12 and running iOS 26, you're gonna have a bad time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Should they just upgrade?
We've seen cards get way better performance from release to now just through driver updates.
Absolutely.
So I doubt that this will be something, hopefully, that's like a long-term problem. You make a great point with your phone. Like, I installed the new iOS and it's like, hey, and this is like last gen phone. It's like, hey, I'm gonna run slow. I'm not saying intentional, but boy, it sure does seem interesting that a performance boosting technology is tanking performance on older cards. It almost makes you think these guys sell new GPUs.
There's a white van outside.
Ah!
Zach, hide!
Ah! Are you a fan of a clean, minimalist, all-white PC build? Are you a single mom who works 2 jobs, who loves her kids and
Reva.
Oh, got you. Well, PowerColor has just dropped a new GPU called the Reva that might be the centerpiece of your dream rig. Their new RX 9070 XT Reva is a beautiful 3-fan GPU with a sleek all-white design. This is a pretty good option for anybody looking to build a clean, all-white rig, and it shows the rise of smaller companies in the GPU market. But as a gamer, I've got to ask you, would you buy a GPU from a lesser-known brand just for the aesthetics? Or are you sticking with the big names? My gosh, there are some big players in the game. You have MSI, and everyone's got their own thing. MSI has their dragon. It's not as cool as this dragon. MSI's got their dragon. PowerColor said, I see your dragon with a Reva McIntyre graphics card. Man, this looks different than what we saw at Computex.
It does. It looks like they changed the PCB.
This happens every time. We're like, cool white card. Where's the white PCB to go with it? And you encounter that a lot in production. People are like, listen, we already make a bunch of PCBs for black cards. Can we just reuse it? This is obviously, let's say it all together, China exclusive. But some signs point to this maybe coming to other markets as well, which would be very, very interesting.
You remember way back in the day, we had those crazy boxes for
Yes.
GPUs. I miss that. And it's nice to at least see a character or something on there.
Make it fun.
Yes, please make gaming fun.
Make gaming fun. Put Reba McEntire on a GPU.
Reba McEntire GPU win.
When? Comment Reba if you know who Reba McEntire is. Are we just old? Do you ever feel like you're playing a game of Tetris with a bunch of angry snakes every time you build a PC? Well, guess what? Asus has a new concept that could change everything. Asus is working on a new concept for GPU power delivery. Their new system uses a custom PCIe connector to deliver up to, check this out, 250 watts of power. It's a bold move that could change how we build PCs, and the goal, obviously, cleaner build, fewer cables, and way better looking aesthetics. So I want to know from you, is this a good idea, or is it, are we feeling a little proprietary on this one?
Can we get BTF power plus the actual power and split it so we have cables not melt?
A little safer. And in fact, when I'm looking at this connector, I just filmed an unboxing video of a 5090 Astral BTF. That is like literally the same connector that they're using, it looks like, at least, for the BTF card. So a lot of shared technology there that they're pulling from their BTF division, I would imagine. Listen, I wasn't a big like no cables guy. I like the braided cables in computers. I think they look cool. But at the same time, like you see a cableless build, a BTF build, and you go, I kind of get it.
Is this something that we might be able to see, like a kind of a plug and play thing where you could, in theory, have like an adapter to turn any GPU into a BTF?
I think that would be the way to go. But with Asus developing the technology, I think like these are obviously Asus boards with enhanced slots right now. So you do kind of play in that proprietary range of things. And I would imagine it stays there until there's like some standardized version, which what's the incentive to do that?
PCI 6, like, why don't we do that? Why don't we go ahead and just create a socket that works for BTF or not BTF that's backwards compatible?
I think it's coming.
I think it's coming, and I think that's the way that we need to go.
Gamers, pour out some Mountain Dew Game Fuel or Balls Energy for 32-bit operating systems, because Steam is about to take its 32-bit support out back and old yeller it. Dear God, Phil. Steam has officially announced that it's going to end support for 32-bit operating systems starting in 2026. Now, we're not surprised, but this is monumental for PC gaming as the 32-bit era is officially coming to a close. This change applies to the Steam client and all games that rely on Steamworks. The decision was made due to, well, no one's freaking using a 32-bit OS right now, as well as increased security risks. This is a necessary step forward for the platform, even if it does leave some people behind. It's a good conversation starter about the evolution of PC gaming and a good time to discuss when it's time to upgrade and why it's so important, Phil.
What's better about 64-bit?
Well, 64-bit allows you to access more RAM, over 4 gigabytes, right, than those 32-bit systems. Also, it allows games to use those larger, more complex game worlds with more detailed assets and things like that. So it does make sense that the change is happening, but there are a lot of people that are still using it that kind of be left in the dust here. It's kind of interesting.
The kids watching this don't remember whenever you choose between 32 and 64-bit versions of practically everything. And that is, by the way, because they probably don't know this, this is why you have a Program Files x86 folder and a Program Files folder.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Steam took it out back and did what it had to do. Bye-bye. Guys, it's time for an ad, and it's your favorite ad segment because it's sponsored by probably one of the best sponsors that we've had on the channel. It's us. Go to metapcs.com if you're looking for a new PC, whether you're going the custom route, you want to pick every part, every color, cable. We love to do that, even water-cooled builds. Or if you want a ready-to-ship system that is pre-configured, ready to go with some of our most popular configs that you guys buy all the time, check out the ready-to-ship page at metapcs.com. Hey, Phil, you know the cool thing about these?
Yeah.
You know when they ship?
The next day.
The next freaking day. What are we even talking about? If you just want to support the show, go and check out the mouse mats. We've got shop.metapcs.com with all of our merch, gear, shirts, hats, all that fun stuff. Check it out, shop.metapcs.com or metapcs.com. A new player has entered the GPU market. Innosilicon has unveiled its Fenghua 3 GPU, a card with DirectX 12 support and hardware ray tracing. This is a big old step for Chinese manufacturers, and it's a new option in a very crowded GPU space. This card is designed to be a budget-friendly option. It's a big step for Innosilicon, and I want to know from you, are you willing to take a chance on a new player in the GPU market, or are you sticking with the big names? So what makes this so special? Well, a whole lot, actually. So this supports ray tracing, apparently, CUDA compatible graphics card core on a single card. And check this out, a crazy amount, up to 112 gigabytes plus.
Do we think that this is for gaming, or do we think this is for AI or like, data centers?
I think primarily AI, but it is interesting that it supports DirectX 12, Vulkan 1.2, OpenGL 4.6, and hardware ray tracing enabled.
So this could be something that data centers could use for either or, and then it doesn't do the thing that NVIDIA does and say like, we have AI and we have GeForce and they're two separate things and they're gonna cost different. They're just gonna say like,
it's one, baby.
It's all one. We also have things like medical grade grayscale display, YUV 444 for CAD and video editing, pretty much anything.
Now there's no like testing, benchmarks, pricing, things, release date, none of that yet, but the highlights that have come out make this seem to be like, it seems like a pretty promising card.
I gotta see this. Whenever it comes out, we gotta
get our hands on that bad boy.
Yeah.
Maybe smuggle it in.
We bring them non-D 5090s and then we
like a little trade, a trade agreement.
A trade agreement.
I love it. Overclockers are at it again, and this time they've shattered the world record for DDR5 memory speed. Overclocker has pushed a kit of DDR5 to an incredible 13,020 megatransfers a second. This is an insane new speed, and it shows the potential of DDR5. The overclock was achieved using liquid nitrogen, because of course it was, which is a great talking point and a perfect example of the extreme side of PC building. So I want to know from you, what's the fastest RAM you've ever had in your build?
3200, and I can't even hit 3200 because I have 4 sticks.
Have you considered liquid nitrogen? This is from Salty Croissant, which great.
What a name!
Great name. He became the first to break that record at overclocking at 6,500 megahertz, which translates to 13,000 megatransfers.
That is insane.
Absolutely insane. Like, you can get the fastest RAM possible, you can do some overclocking through the software and still achieve great results, right? But this, when we're talking liquid nitrogen, is like totally different hemisphere. It's crazy, crazy stuff. Like you mentioned, used to see it a lot in the past. Still overclockers use it now, which is case in point with this story, but my goodness gracious, this is absolutely insane.
It really is.
A new motherboard format is here, and this thing is tiny. It's the YTX format. It's designed for small form factor builds, and it's a bold step in the world of PC building. New format trims the fat from traditional motherboards, and it's got some cool features, like a new layout that is optimized for M.2 slot. But it also comes with trade-offs, Phil. It's not as flexible as your standard ATX, so I want to know from all of you guys at home, are you gonna try this new format, and would it make sense in your build? I see why they call it YTX.
Why do they call it YTX?
Because this baby is wide.
Yeah, so it's 9 by 6.5 roughly.
Dude, the craziest thing, I'm just reading the specs on this, 4 M.2 slots in total.
Oh my God.
So they're stacking them.
And it's got a 5.0 PCIe slot.
This has gotta be just for those tiny, tiny builds, right? Just tiny, tiny.
What I would wanna do is get the biggest GPU I can get and build the tiniest PC behind it and do an open air build, water cool a bitch.
And then water cool it, man. Why wouldn't you? Dude, this is pretty insane. The fact that they're able to squeeze so much onto this board is fairly interesting.
2 M.2s on top of each other, that bottom one's gonna get real hot.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the drives you're using, but that would certainly be one of my concerns.
I don't think we could get Gen 5 drives in this. I think it's a 4.0 lane for the M.2s.
And it's got all the bells and whistles, Wi-Fi 6, all the Bluetooth 5.2, all that good stuff. Guys, it wouldn't be a Meta PCs news video if we didn't thank all of our amazing members who are members here on the channel. They get access to behind the scenes content that nobody else gets to see. We had some new people join. Let's say thanks, shall we, Phil?
Yeah.
Shall we give thanks?
Let's give thanks.
Ray Atkinson, Whitcore Goslar, Phoenix Gaming, Fess Lorange, Chris K, Ernesto, my favorite tech, and we gotta thank the people that have been here for a while. Let's talk about the guys that have consistently shown up on the membership program. The Beard of Knowledge, what a legend. Papple, that's you.
That's me.
Oh my gosh.
No TX Chris has been around since the beginning.
No TX Chris has been around for a long time. Ryan Gilpatrick, he works here. Banana, MXTT, Rigo, Jared Kindlespire, he works here too. And John Haro and Galaxy RTX. Thank you guys so much for being part of the members program. Sign up to join the members here on the channel to get content that nobody else gets to see. And as always, we'll see you next time. That's been news, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Did we do it?
We did it. We did
the
news.
Leave? Can I take this? I'm taking this.